I remember I The remainder of the night passed by, surprisingly uneventful. The boys continued to train with each other, but were kind enough to stop and make me dinner. I was glad for that. Unsurprisingly, the food was perfect, but I felt a little empty without the boys to eat with me. They most likely had already eaten, but still, I felt lonely. I couldn't let her bother me. I couldn't let it bother me. I ate and went back to my room and study and sleep. Surprisingly, I felt good going back to bed that night. I felt like I could have peaceful sleep after the previous rough nights I had. It felt good. I drifted off sleep and woke up almost flawless the next morning. No grogginess, no eggs, but I'm probably missing school though. That's man. How long has it been since I got that much good sleep? I looked at my alarm clock. I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm. Well, hey, I must be lucky. It must be a lucky day. Karma owed me some luck. After all, I had gone through the merely handful of days deserved to get some good luck. Ecstatic for the day ahead, I turned off my alarm before they could ring and got dressed. However, my phone started to buzz from an incoming text. Huh? Who's texting me this early?
Yo, Anderson! You're carpooling with us from now on. We're not letting you waste your money on a bus. Get ready and be at your gate at 7 stat.
Thanks, Sigley. I smile. My friends were the best. I couldn't drive yet. I didn't have a car, so it was awesome that my friends could let me carpool. I checked the time, 6:30. That's pretty early to actually be carpooling, or to be leaving, but whatever. Perfect. I can eat some breakfast before they come. I packed my bag and carried it downstairs into the kitchen. I quickly made myself coffee and toast. Not having time for anything big. I let out a soft sigh in happiness as I sipped my coffee. I felt great, and I felt like nothing could stop me today. Come at me, day. I'm ready for you. I looked at the time again. Time to go. I quickly rushed down to the doors, checking myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anyone, but I still needed to look decent. I think that's okay. Hopefully that's good enough time. If it's not a good enough time, then I'll run it over the episode, but I don't know. Whatever, I might mess this up. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you've never been to the channel before, and I will catch you guys all again in the next episode of Seduce Me. So yeah. What is up, guys? Moon here, aka Ethan Tay. I'm back for another episode of Seduce Me, and yeah, this is my last episode for this session, so it's pretty good. I quickly rushed the doors and checked myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anyone, but I still needed to look decent. And right on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Suzu waving me down. I rushed out the door and we headed to school, talking about the homework and the coming day. We made it into the school without a hitch. Our lockers were in the same part of the hall, so we quickly unloaded what we needed and got our important books and necessities. First incident of the day. As I walked towards Suzu and Naomi, they were both waiting for me on the opposite side of the hall. Something hooked my ankle and made me fall forward. Oh, wow.
Hey, are you okay? Who did that?
The three of us looked back to see Lisette and her gaggle of girls. Lisette had looked. Okay, shit. Lisette had a look of complete innocence, while the girls around her giggled with no tomorrow.
Why, you little... Suzu, don't!
I felt a giant fire of anger burn in my stomach as I stared at Lisette. Today was not the only time this had happened to me. However, it was now clear who was behind these incidents. Even if she was innocent and one of the goons did it, it was now obvious that Lisette was a mastermind just from the look on her face. She was no friend, nor would she ever be. I had to do something. Let's see. Glare into her soul. I glared at Lisette, feeling wisps of air and magic run through my skin and veins. However, I stopped at what I saw. What the hell is that? Lisette was a dark purple aura. Was a dark purple aura that seemed all too familiar. It was like demon magic, but it seemed to be thinner or tamer. I slowly rose to my feet, collecting my belongings as I continued to stare at Lisette. Something was off. As I continued to look at her, the aura grew, forming a shadow behind Lisette, with red eye-like shapes glowing from within its darkness.
Anderson, you alright?
I couldn't respond. I was entraced by a small hum in the air. It was distant, almost like an ethereal whisper you'd hear in horror games. But it was real. It sounded vaguely of a woman humming a tune I didn't recognize.
Hey, are you okay?
Let's go. We'll be late for class. I suddenly felt the need to walk away, so I did. Naomi and Suzu scrambled to catch up and follow me at my new quickened pace.
Sheesh, Anderson. You look like you saw a ghost. Are you really okay? That fall was pretty bad. Think she saw underneath Lisette's cake face and saw the devil itself.
That's funny.
Oh, Suzu, hush!
No, something was wrong with Lisette. It was more than just her being mean. Just, there was something or someone watching over Lisette. Or they were watching me from behind Lisette. What they were doing, I didn't know. But it definitely was demonic. Surprisingly, the rest of the school day went off without another incident. I went to my classes and had lunch and was anxious to get home. As the bell rang for school to end, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. Huh? A text from Dad? I'll be picking you up today. Make sure you're ready to go when I get there. That's kind of a surprise. I quickly headed back to my locker and got my things before waiting for Suzu and Naomi.
Hey, are you ready to go?
Actually, my dad's picking me up.
Really? Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. We'll drive home together next time. Tell your dad that we've got you covered from now on.
Yeah, alright. Even while I laughed, something didn't seem right. My dad texted me to say this, why he was going to pick me up. Had I done something wrong? I didn't know. I waved goodbye to Naomi and Suzu before heading off to the usual spot where my dad picks me up. I took the time to listen to my music while I waited. I needed to go to another Rise of the Phoenix concert. Eventually, I had played the entire album with no one showing up. What the hey? Dad's never late, especially not this late. I quickly dialed my dad's number again, but as soon as I called it, it disconnected and read a signal disconnection error. What the? No signal error? How do I not have signal? I double checked my phone and saw all 5 bars for signal. He must be in a dead zone. Before I finish, a group of hands grabbed my feet and covered my mouth. I screamed into the hand covering my mouth, struggling to pull away from the hands grabbing at my limbs. It felt disgusting and scary, feeling their hands on me. I needed it to stop.
Hey! Don't dirty up
demon lady?
Alex's prey.
Yeah. The voice, which sent a fearful shiver down my spine, whispered into my ear.
You're coming with me, Miss Anderson.
I couldn't fathom what was happening, but before I knew it, I was blindfolded. My limbs were quickly tied up. I felt myself being carried somewhere, and it was shoved into something that echoed the interior of a bus or a van. The doors closed, and off I was taken, unsure where I was going and why. All I knew was that I was in trouble. All I saw was darkness. I felt numb as I was taken back to a place I didn't know of. I couldn't even have my lips to scream. Sounds zipped past my ears. First the interior of the car, then the outside, then an echoey space with whispers and crackles of people vibrating through it. However, the wrap around my eyes was eventually removed from my face, and my bonds were cut. It took a while for my eyes to adjust, but I found myself in a warehouse surrounded by devils, including Malix, who was smirking at me.
Nicely done! I'm sure those little shits will come running to find you when they realize you didn't return to your precious little mansion.
Knox walked over and sat the barrel of his gun against my skin between my eyes.
It'll be so funny when they find your dead body instead.
Fight. Now what? Now, no way this was happening. No way I was going to let myself be a victim of this. I gotta remember what was in that book.
What are you whimpering? Are you praying that the boys will come and save you?
I kept grumbling, trying to remember, and shut my eyes, studying for a brief second wasn't enough to keep the spell in mind. But I had to try something, anything. All of a sudden, the air grew still and silent. I opened my eyes and looked around and gasped at the sight. Everything was frozen in time, as if the clocks had stopped and everything had followed suit. What the? At first, I instantly wanted to move, but my feet were glued to the ground. I guess I couldn't change time and escape from where I was, but I was still lost, and what was I supposed to do? A soft wisp of wind made me turn to a floating light purple orb. I stared as it glowed, giving off a warm feeling. For some reason, this thing made me feel happy and content, despite the situation I was in. My heart felt like crying, yet I didn't know why. It couldn't have been grandfather. As I muttered, the orb slowly grew and faded into a spirit of my grandfather from when I last saw him. I stared up at him, completely shocked that I was correct and that his form was standing in front of me.
I guess it was a good idea to bring the incubi here after all.
What? Is it really you? What do you mean? My grandfather smiled before patting my head gently. I couldn't feel it, but I knew he tried, so I closed my eyes in acknowledgement before looking at him again.
Sweetie, I'm sorry for not telling you, but I didn't know if you were ready to know.
That you handled demon magic?
Yes.
Why? What is there to gain from learning and using demon magic?
It wasn't a matter of gaining anything except knowledge. Through magic, I was able to learn more about the demon world and its wonders. I even met your incubi friends.
You met the boys?
Yes. It was I who helped them come here, but it seems it was at the cost of my life.
What? Why? Why would you sacrifice yourself like that? None of this made sense. He died to bring the incubi into the human world. Why? My mind was practically screaming in anger. I needed answers. With time being frozen, we had all the time in the world. Why would you die for something like that? Why would you leave us alone? Why leave me alone?
I wasn't intending to, my dear. But now that I'm gone, you have a chance to find yourself without anything hindering you.
What?
Your father had always been so hard on you. I'm to blame for that. He learned of my studies before he married your mother and pushed me away, promising to never follow in my footsteps. As he was my son, I still loved and cared for him. I helped him in little ways, from paying bills and making sure he had food to come home with by adding money to his accounts. You don't know how hard your father worked to get to where he is now.
I stared, trying to take it all in. It was true that my dad worked really hard, but I didn't realize how rough he had it.
When you were born, I couldn't have been any happier. I tried to give you as many toys as I could, but many of them were tossed away by your father to protect you from me. I thought I would never be able to see you, but when I found you on the street, I was blessed enough to be given a chance. After I brought you back to your parents, I asked your mother to convince your father to let you visit me often, and he finally agreed.
Why does Dad hate you so much? Why put that on me?
Your father saw me as a monster. He was afraid I would hurt you. He wanted to protect you from me at all costs, even if it meant becoming a monster to you himself.
You did not know my father! You did not know what he was capable of!
He truly does love and care for you, but he doesn't want you to be as curious as I was.
Curious?
I chose to learn about magic. I grew curious about it. He thought that was wrong, so when I didn't give it up, he shut me out of his life.
What a stubborn old man.
So I did the only thing I could do. I gave everything I owned to you, including my hidden books your father never knew of.
My head began to spin. There was too much information. It was all going too fast, despite time not moving a single inch.
I'm just so happy that my curiosity stayed with you.
So my grandfather met the incubi? That seemed so surreal. I could hardly believe it. Yet, here was the spirit of my grandfather telling me. It was almost like a dream. So you introduced them to the human world?
That's right. I told them about the wonders of our world, and they all wanted to come to experience it. So I helped them come over and gave them everything they needed. They traveled everywhere, and I helped them as they learned more about humans. Then, I suddenly stopped breathing. I don't know why, but I believe it was because my time was up. After I died, the boys tried to come back. However, Mallets attacked them instantly when they crossed his path. I used the last bit of my strength to guide them to the estate so they had a place to stay to heal.
So that's why they were in the house? But they said they didn't know about the house belonging to anyone.
I never told them it belonged to anyone. I merely told them to head to the estate for shelter until they could learn to live on their own.
If the estate was meant for them, why give it to me?
I never knew your father would move you in so quickly. Even still, you managed to learn of them and learn of the demon world. You even were curious enough to study the magic.
Why not teach me when I visited?
You were too young to understand. I was hoping that you would make the choice to learn on your own when you were ready to handle it. And you did. I'm so proud of you.
What are you saying? I barely began reading it. I don't remember anything.
I will help you remember.
Then my grandfather gently bit down and kissed my forehead. All at once, my mind began to fill with the spells and history of arcane magic, the demon world, and everything my grandfather had known. I looked up at my grandfather again, now able to remember everything and more as his smile went down to me.
Never forget. Make your own choices and do what you need to do. Don't let someone determine your life for you. If you decide to never look at magic again, I'll understand. But now at least you know it's there.
My grandfather then patted my head before turning and walking away. I tried to follow after, still unsure, lost as ever, but my feet remained stuck to the floor. Wait, please. He didn't turn back, and he didn't stop walking. Soon, he vanished past the wall, leaving me alone once again. I gritted my teeth, trying not to cry. My mind was filled with both the power and to defend myself and a large amount of confusion I could never hope to shake off. I could feel the air around me start to move again. So I tightened my hands into fists, trying to push away my concerns. I remember, I was Malix's captive. I had to escape. After I escaped, I could figure my life out.